Right, I'm going to do a whistle stop tour because I know that I talk quick, but I'm going to try and talk even quicker. So this oh, it's not going to change now. Okay. So in Cwmni Bro, we're based in Bro Ffestiniog, and we truly believe that the responsibility of the future lies in our own hands, which means that we do have the skills that we need, the talent that we need in our communities. So unlocking that is the big thing that we're seeing. This is Bro Ffestiniog. So you'll see here, we are a town in the mountains. There's a lot of wealth extraction coming out of other areas around Bro Ffestiniog, and not a lot of that wealth is retained historically. So this is the national park. So this is Eryri National Park. You'll see the blue dot here. That's Bro Ffestiniog. You'll notice if you're eagle-eyed that we are not in the national park because we're an industrial area, which means we're the whole in the national park, but we like to think of ourselves as the whole of the national park. This does mean that a lot of our services aren't readily available. The university will be in Bangor, hospitals, and so on. So a lot of those services are a distance away. So young people do get taught really early on, because we're an urban rural area, or like Sel used to like to call us a urban area, that to succeed you have to leave. But we held some research recently, Restanza research, which looked at what the adventure of staying and making a place better was. So Cwmni Bro Ffestiniog is a network of social enterprises. So that means that all of these social enterprises work independently, but that they trust each other, they talk to each other, and they work collaborative for the benefit of the community. That's what Cwmni Bro does, essentially, to promote collaboration, but also the growth of local circular economy, and to just start those new initiatives and to support each other. I'm going to skip that one. Okay, so in terms of we've been asked quite a lot in terms of um, how how do you scale this up? And what we always say is we don't scale it up, we scale across. We don't like to talk about economic factors, but they do come into play when you're talking to the systems that are interested in that. So this, in terms of 20 social enterprises, this is the real economic value that comes with that social benefit. So it's 2 million turnover. Those workers as well, working local, they spend local, and those assets of 6 million. So that idea of how can we communitize, so i gymunedoli, which is a made-up word, which means to communitize, to retain that wealth. And you can communitize anything. You can communitize language, you can communitize your history. How do we make sure that ownership is community owned? Hmm. It's the transitions that's going to slow me down, Glenn. Hold on.
No,
Right.
no, it's fine.
So we also have this idea of making sure that it's community voice a part of this. So being creative in gathering that community voice. I'm definitely going to be dressed up as a zebra at one point. But it's making sure that we have that. We either play around with narrative. So it's quite a rainy area in Bro Ffestiniog. So we're creating rain activated art. We also have a festival that celebrates rain. So the idea is that we flip it on its head, and people are absolutely gutted that it's sunny if you come to Blaena. But we also have we hold plays, and we make sure that we're making that engagement really fun for the community. We hold research because, as I was saying, that idea of we're used to extraction, so how can we make it better? But we have to have that voice starting at any project. That community voice and community ownership of that is a huge part. So this is a new project with the Lenny, which is going to look at tourism. I'm gonna just skip over this one. Um, we do have because of the natural history, Blaenau is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so we have a new worker looking at that. I'm going to try and go to the town work that we have. Oh, I will talk about Tanagrisha. So this is Tanagrisha. It's a fuel. It's an area which suffers greatly of fuel poverty. Um, and if on both sides of Tanagrisha you have a Rayhow plastics factory which does retrofitting and specialises in that, and you also have NG. But you do have an area of the town which is off mains gas. So we're working now on how do we create a spine and a district heating network for the community so they don't need high cost gas prices, and they'll be bypassing that and they'll be going to district heating. So this is Tanagrisha. And this is how it's going to work. So at the moment, we're piloting with 4 houses in Tanagrisha. We're going to retrofit those houses and see how it works with having a shared air source heat pump. But obviously, later on, they will be connected onto the spine, which goes from the river, from the lake here, and through the village. So I'm going to give you a case study of how this is working at the moment. So you had Antur Stiniog started in 2010 looking at how tourism was working at the moment there. So what we were seeing was a lot of ownership from out of town for outdoor spaces, and young people having to pay to use either going on the lake or going to kayak, etc. So Antur Stiniog thought, how do we benefit from that? So they had ERDF funding and started a downhill mountain biking space, which means you pay to go up the hill, you come down, that takes you a whole day to be able to go round and round as much as you want, as fast as you want. What they did see then was that there was a need in town and the tourist information closed. So they took out a loan with WCVA to buy that space. It's now a cafe, which is fantastic because any visitor to Bro Ffestiniog gets to become a local for the day. And if you need anything, you ask local people, and it's just a beautiful space. Out of the stanza that I was discussing earlier, we noticed that young people didn't feel that they had ownership in town. So they bought a space in town called the Railwyd. So it was the Earth. So they bought this space for £40,000 and received then grants from Welsh Government and the Levelling Up Fund to be able to create this into a fantastic space for young people now. So it's gone from an empty space over COVID to having 130 children using that on a Tuesday night, and a lot of different aspects to that during the week as well. So these I love these buildings. So they were derelict for I'd say 20 years. They're retail spaces on our church street, so we do have a really long the high street, which was formed during the slate rush or slate boom years, and it's left a lot of empty buildings. So these buildings were empty, but obviously quite iconic to the town. So Antur Stiniog had bought these and are now doing them up with this idea that came from this hardware shop. So this hardware shop is your typical hardware shop where you go in for pegs and you end up coming out with a fire guard and 9 nails. The first community-owned, yes, Glenn, sorry, first community-owned hardware shop in the UK. But that idea of having a retail space, but also having something above to be able to have that synergy. So there's going to be retail spaces here on the ground floor, places to stay, but also workshops below, because we do have a lot of sole traders in town. So this is the journey of Antur Stiniog. So how can you go from tourism to actually community benefit and ownership of spaces and real fair rent in that, because a lot of our social enterprises are homed in anti buildings as well. Um, I'm not going to have time to go through the llesiant. So in terms of, because Cwmni Bro has so many workers that work because they're passionate about their work, we do have a well-being aspect to our work, which makes sure that we put people at the centre of that. Um, you can see all these again, but so this is Sel Williams. This is the Sel was a mentor and a fantastic man. Please take a look at the work that he's done. A true visionary for cymunedoli and the work of communities and the belief in education and that. So having research and education in that development is a big belief for us that we work towards. So I, if I have 30 seconds, this is Antir Stiniog. So this is miners years and years ago. They're around the same place as these two young people. So in at the bottom of this hill, we have a llenyrch, a green space where young people can go and they can learn from their community and their cynefin a chymuned. And this is them there now. We often see these young people, we go, yes, they're the future. But unfortunately, we see them coming out of co-op with a massive hot dog and a Monster can in the morning. We go, oh, come on, you're supposed to be the future. But you know, it's having those spaces and seeing these young people here and thinking, well, what do they think is the future? And these kids are the future. So if it's not us, then who? And if it's not now, then when?
Oh, diolch yn fawr, Bentley. That's brilliant. Thank you ever so much to our three speakers, all inspirational. I haven't been to the first two areas, but I've been through Blaenau lots of times, and in the 30 years that I've been traveling north south, I'm always inspired by the change that's come out of Blaenau and the community. It's a very different place now than it was 20 or 30 years ago, and I know in terms of Antistiniog there, my colleague Mike worked with Kerry to register that co-op back in the day, and my colleague Claire, who was an ex-slate miner, was based in Bro Ffestiniog and set up those very early social enterprises. So Compass has got a very special place in our heart in terms of Cwmni Bro for that community-based development approach.